ducks and geese are 11 days old. We've had them now for 8 days. This brooder setup I'm using is a kiddie pool I bought because I figured we'd be able to reuse it when they're bigger out in the yard for a little occasional swim time. And I built that raised watering platform there with it's just an aluminum roasting pan underneath. I built it to fit over top of it so that they don't make such a mess in here. So just the other day, on day 6, I cleaned this out for the first time, as in all the bedding and stuff came out. But then you can see the pan there gets kind of nasty, so that gets changed out, dumped out, and rinsed out every other day probably. And we started with using one of these for their water, but the geese, I found that their heads got so big so fast that if the water was getting too low, they couldn't get a drink. So I switched over to that water after just about maybe 3 or 4 days. So the plan is, or my original intent was to have them in here for about 2 weeks. You see I added the cardboard around the sides because even after just a couple of days, the ducks could jump over the sides of that. So I added that cardboard, and the plan then is to move them out to the, it's kind of hard to see because of the rain. Let's see. The plan is to move them out to the little duck tractor out there I built. They've been out there during the day, but they're going to eventually be out there full time until they can move into the duck house. So I'm thinking by the time they're 2 weeks old, they'll be out there full time, which will be next Monday. I hung a heat lamp in there because even though it was in the 90s here the other day, this weekend's supposed to only be in the 60s. So I don't want them to get too cold. I want to make sure that they can get warmed up if they need to. So we got 7 ducks and 2 geese. All the ducks are females. We ordered 8. One did not make the journey. We got them from Metzger Farms out in California, and we're in Michigan, so it's they were in a box for a few days on their way here. But the rest of them were very healthy and vibrant when we got them. I don't know what happened to the 8th duck. She just maybe was weak to start with, or I'm not really sure, but she didn't make it. So we have 7 female ducks, and then the geese are a pair of geese. Those are Toulouse, and we got Francisco Goose right here, and Francine, or Frankie. Sorry, ducks, I don't have any more treats for you. But, so this system seems to work out alright for now. But like I said, I don't think they could be in here for much more than another week at the most. They're growing so fast. They've easily doubled in size in the week that we've had them. Probably more like tripled in size. So in these first 2 weeks during the day, I've been trying to bring them out here on the grass as much as possible. The first week or so was really warm. It was all the way up into the about 90, 91 a few days ago. So I even let them go for a little swim to cool down. But today is a little bit damp and gloomy, so I didn't want to let them get too wet. And it's also why I have a heat lamp hanging inside here. So if they do want to go underneath there and warm up, they can if the grass is too wet or whatever. So So this duck tractor I built out of, basically I just stacked two old raised beds on top of each other that I was no longer using. And that's how I kept them out here for the first few days while I was with them. But I wanted to be able to close them up and go on with whatever I had to do and not worry about them. So I built this cage around it, put a roof on it, and some wire fencing. Now, when I get to the point where I'm going to leave them out here overnight, I don't like just this fencing, because raccoon could reach his paw in there, and if there was one close enough he could grab it. So I think I'm going to wrap it again with hardware cloth to make sure that doesn't happen. But they really enjoy being out on the grass. They're much happier out here. And then once the duck house is done, which is going to be right there, so the old wood shed, which I'm now building a new firewood rack in front of it, I'm going to move all that wood out of the wood shed and then close that in for the duck house. So I'm working on that project right now. And then eventually we'll fence in the whole back lot back there, and they can free range on pasture back there. But ducks and geese grow so much faster than chickens, so keeping them in a small brooder for very long is not going to work. Like I said, I've only had to clean that out once so far, but I've been adding bedding every day, and then changing that water catch pan quite frequently, because that starts to stink. But so far it's working out pretty good. Once I keep these out here, overnight we'll do an update. The ducks and geese are now about a month old. They've been spending every night in their little duck tractor for about a week now. Francisco Goose, what are you yelling at me for? Huh? Francine. But they just really love being out on the grass. They love foraging. I have a temporary fenced in yard area around their duck tractor where I let them out to roam every day. How about the duckies? Oh, neighbor's chicken just laid an egg. So everybody's doing great.